Yo, my name is Nikias, and today I'm trying a new filming setup, and I'm going to help you answer one of the most popular questions in fitness. Should you cut, bulk, or recomp? In this video, I'll define each phase, help you choose based on your current physique and goal, show you some visual examples of my clients going through these phases, and discuss some considerations if you're going to start testosterone therapy as a trans masc person who was assigned female at birth. But before I get into this topic, if you are interested in one-to-one online coaching, one-off consultations, or if you'd like to purchase a custom program without coaching, check out my website or email me. All of the links are in the video notes. Without further ado, let's get clear on what each phase actually is. A cut is a fat loss phase. You're in a calorie deficit, and the goal is to lose body fat while maintaining as much muscle as possible. In many cases, it's also possible to build muscle as you lose fat. A bulk is a controlled weight gain phase. You're in a calorie surplus, aiming to maximize muscle gain while minimizing fat gain. And a recomp is building muscle while eating at maintenance calories. Your body weight might stay roughly the same, but your body composition slowly improves over time, aka you look more muscular. Next, let's talk about which phase you should pick. If you are currently overweight or have obesity, your priority is to achieve a healthier body fat level first. So you're going to start with a cut, which will put you in a better position for either bulking or recomping. Now, most people burn out on cutting because they think they have to diet non-stop until they reach their final goal, but you don't. In fact, none of my clients do that. What we typically do is run a fat loss phase for around 3 to 6 months. During that time, we might include some days or even a full week at maintenance calories if needed. Then, we move into a recomp phase, which is different than just a couple of days or a week at maintenance calories because it lasts longer. I also refer to this as a recharge phase because it gives you a break from the calorie deficit, more food, better training performance, more energy, and a chance to practice maintaining the progress that you have made so far. Then, if needed, we go back into another fat loss phase, and then we rinse and repeat until we achieve the client's ultimate goal. This is how you actually get lean without burning out halfway through. Now, let me show you an example of what this can look like. This is my client Talon, a non-binary badass. Talon worked with me on this transformation for a whole whopping year, and the difference is a fantastic 44 pounds. For reference, Talon is not on T or on any hormones. When Talon signed up for online coaching, we first ran a fat loss primer phase, where the primary goal was to learn everything they would need to accomplish fat loss successfully. While we aimed for a deficit, fat loss was the secondary goal. However, Talon was so consistent with everything I asked of them that they ended up losing fat anyway. The fat loss primer phase lasted for 4 weeks, and then we ran their fat loss phase proper for 5 months. At the end of that, we took a 4-month recharge phase, where Talon maintained their weight like a pro. And then we spent another 3 months dieting until Talon had to pause coaching. But they're coming back soon, which I'm very excited about. So Talon, if you're watching this, I'm waiting for you. This was a whole year of work. And to be precise, it was 36 weeks of cutting, during which they lost roughly 1.2 pounds per week. And then they maintained their weight during the 16-week recharge phase. Now, let's talk about bulking. If your goal is to build muscle in a calorie surplus, which is what bulking is, first get as lean as you'd like to be, or even a bit leaner. Muscle growth is slow, so a productive bulk should be long and controlled to allow for as much growth as possible. If you start a bulk before you achieve the body fat level that I recommended earlier, 2 things tend to happen. First, you feel worse about your physique as you gain more weight. Second, you cut the bulk short too soon. So instead of gaining muscle effectively, you end up in this loop where you bulk, panic, cut, and repeat. Getting lean enough first puts you in a position where you can actually commit to a productive bulk and give it enough time to work. As an example, here's my client Corey, a hard-working, consistent as fuck trans man who's been working with me since January 2022, alternating many cutting and bulking phases. We ran this bulk from May 2025 to the end of January 2026 for a total of 9 months and 3 weeks, starting right after a fat loss phase. Note the minimal fat gain and the overall wider and bulkier frame, which suggests some new muscle is lying in wait underneath the extra layer of body fat. At the time of making this video, we're cutting again to strip the fat off and reveal that new muscle. Finally, let's talk about recomping. This works best when you're already as lean as you'd like to be and you would rather build muscle without additional fat gain. When recomping, focus on training hard, eating well, and being patient, because recomp is the slowest of the three. In a recomp, you build muscle even if you aren't in a surplus, because training, not nutrition, is the primary driver of muscle gain. But a surplus would speed up the process. I usually recommend recomping either as a recharge phase between cuts or as a longer term approach once you're already where you want to be in terms of body fat and you're not in a rush to be in a surplus or to gain muscle as fast as you possibly can. As my third example for this recomp phase, I'm gonna use my incredible non-binary client Jules, who, for reference, just like Talon, is not on T. Jules is still working with me right now, and when they started, they went through a long-ass fat loss phase from November 2024 to August 2025. And, as I said earlier, we did have days and the occasional week at maintenance calories in between. Since August 2025, Jules has been recomping with a goal of going through another cut starting mid-May. So pretty soon. Note how their body fat is pretty much the same in both pictures, but in the second one, they look slightly wider because of the extra muscle. Now, you may be wondering, does all of this change if I'm just starting testosterone therapy? And the answer is, the fundamentals stay the same, but your experience is going to change. First off, if you're starting T, you might gain weight on the scale even if you're in a calorie deficit. That can be a real mindfuck, which is the scientific term, if you're cutting, because it can look like what you're doing is not working. So instead of relying purely on the scale, I'd strongly recommend taking progress pictures and measurements if you have the time every single week. If you're losing inches and you look leaner over time, you are losing fat, regardless of what the scale is doing. In the first 6 to 12 months on T, you likely experience an increase in strength and muscle, so you likely see faster gains than pre-T. At the same time, you may also experience what a lot of people call T hunger. So your appetite may go up, which can make sticking to a calorie deficit more challenging. Therefore, if you're cutting, it's even more important to be structured with your nutrition. Track your calories, prioritize protein, and build your diet around high volume, high fiber foods to help manage hunger and keep you consistent. After 6 to 12 months, things tend to stabilize. You don't get the same boost in muscle gain anymore, and the extra weight gain plus T hunger also tend to settle. But you can experience a second round of this if you change your dose and or your route of administration, or if you restart T after some time off and your T levels increase from baseline. This second round, as I refer to it, will probably be more short-lived and less intense than the first time you started T, because the change in T levels is likely going to be smaller. This was my personal experience when I switched from gel and T levels that were at the very bottom or slightly below the cis-mil range to injections and higher T levels. If you are starting low dose T and your levels aren't going to increase as high as the cis-mil range, but they're still going to go up, you can expect some changes to scale weight, appetite, strength, and muscle as I described, but probably to a lesser extent. Anyway, the phases themselves do not change, but how they feel and how you manage them and track progress might. What I'm gonna do now is give you the TLDR on how to decide which phase you should be in right now. If you're carrying more body fat than you're comfortable with, or you have excess body fat, cut. If you're lean and want to build muscle faster, bulk. And if you're lean and patient, or at least not in a rush to go into a bulk, Recomp. If you're still unsure, I've built a quick cut or bulk quiz that will give you a personalized recommendation based on your situation. It's totally free, and you can find that in the video notes. Once you know which phase you should be in, you still need to know how to actually do it properly. That's why I created the masc/fem physique blueprint. It's a free guide where I walk you through how to approach cutting, bulking, and recomping, and the key nutrition and training principles behind each. And you also get 4 training programs based on whether you want a more masc or more femme physique, with options to train 3 or 4 days a week. So instead of guessing what to do next, you get a clear structure to follow. And the masc/fem physique blueprint is also linked in the video notes. And that's a wrap for today's video. If you found this helpful, hit the subscribe button and let me know this in the comments. Are you currently cutting, bulking, or recomping? Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.